I had no idea buying a house would be like this.
What he said. What he said.
What is good, y'all? It's NWA here, Nurse Pat. Today we dropping some heat.
Yes, sir.
So I am happy to say that I officially closed escrow on my first property. Mine, the feeling is unreal. Definitely feeling blessed for this. And oh my God, was this a journey. In this video, I'm gonna talk about my rationale with buying a house, as well as my experience. Now, according to my YouTube demographics, a lot of you are either millennials or Gen Z, and there's a good chance that a good amount of you haven't bought your first property yet. So I am going to explain this. In a nutshell, this is the home buying process. First, you gotta get pre-approved with a lender. You gotta show them your W-2s, your bank statements, any liquidatable cash, via investments, retirement accounts, etc. And you gotta show them your recent pay stubs. And you go around and shop around different lenders in order to get the best incentives and the rates. Then, when you're ready to look around and actually view properties, you get a real estate agent to work with. You then browse different properties and view them with your agent, different open houses, tours, etc. And you make offers on those you like. And unfortunately, during this real estate market, it's kind of a seller's market. There's a lot of people that are still bidding. I have no idea where they get their money from. People still want to buy houses.
$1,000.
$1,000.
$5,000.
Who said that?
Hey!
$20,000. Going once, going twice.
$50,000 cash.
But yeah, if you're accepted, then your real estate agent and your lender will work together on closing the deal. And the following steps typically take weeks before closing and officially getting the house. An escrow account will be made. There'll be a period for contingencies as well as inspections to make sure everything is good with the property. You'll have different loan estimate disclosures to go over, tons and tons of weird numbers that I've never seen before. Very daunting, and you have to sign that. Then there'll be an appraisal for the property you're buying and a gazillion other documents to sign. Thankfully, most of them will all be online or on DocuSign. Then when everything is good and approved, then you'll have a final walkthrough with the property. And if all that is good, then you're gonna have an in-person signing with the escrow title company, and you could either do that in person or get like a notary person come to your house. And that was like another whole bunch of papers I had to sign in person. Some of them kind of redundant with all the things I've already signed. Then after that is when you will wire transfer the rest of the funds for the closing as well as your deposit. And after all of that, congrats, you have the house. Now, in terms of my rationale, real estate has always been, one of the investment vehicles that I wanted to diversify into. I've definitely kicked myself and beat myself up for not pushing for buying a house pre-pandemic, before prices and interest rates went through the roof. Like, I was low-key looking around at that time, but I wasn't super serious. I was kind of chicken.
Baby back, bitch. Baby back, bitch.
And I didn't go for it. And some of the houses that I was outbid on, I just gave up. And, that house is worth easily like 20 to 30% more than it was before. And I would have had better interest rates than now. But that's all hindsight. It is what it is. For the next few years, I was just sort of turned off by everything, especially with all the bidding wars I was hearing. The people that were getting accepted were typically like 20 to 30% above the listing price, which is absolutely ridiculous. Nope. If you know me, I ain't trying to do that. I buy on deals. I don't buy on peak prices. I don't buy on bidding wars. It ain't that serious. I like to save money. I like to be cheapo. That is me. I just couldn't fathom bidding 20% above a listing price that I thought was already skyrocketed. I told myself I'd only buy a house if I thought it was a good deal. Then on some random day, I think it was in April, I saw a random Instagram ad that was talking about giving incentives for healthcare workers when buying their first home. So, I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. It doesn't hurt to inquire about this. I gave them a call, got the information and everything. First Googled them, make sure they're legit. and had good reviews and all that. They're basically a lender offering an incentive for healthcare workers. When I gave him a call, he explained basically that they would give either 0.5% of whatever your loan amount would be, or use that money geared towards lowering your percentage in interest rate. And if you used an approved real estate agent through them, then they would also give you an additional 0.5% of your loan. So essentially you'd be getting 1% back. For instance, if you were to have like a $800,000 loan, you would get back $8,000 as a rebate from them via check.
Oh yeah.
So I thought to myself, whatever, probably not gonna find a house I like anyways, but it doesn't hurt to get pre-approved. Since pre-approval letters do last 90 days, I was like, maybe we'll find something, whatever. I then got in touch with one of the real estate agents that they approved in the area that I was looking towards buying. And, I wasn't really impressed with this real estate agent, to be honest. She was like low-key a Karen and, was more so interested in my business rather than, advocating for me and understanding that, I'm only willing to pull the trigger if I get a good deal. I viewed 2 properties with her and got outbid on both. Come on, man! I was honestly getting turned off at this point. Now, thankfully, my mom had a coworker that was selling his property because he was retiring and moving to the Philippines. And he was willing to sell his home to me as a private sale. Not only did he offer a decent price, but he did also offer a 3% seller credit. Now the seller credit is basically, 3% of whatever the total selling price would be, and you can use it towards closing costs and other things. So that definitely adds up, because in terms of closing costs, typically, according to the lender I spoke with, it's around 2%-ish of your loan amount. And that's pretty much what it was. So that 3% just knocked it all out. All closing costs, done deal. And thankfully with this property, it was a real estate agent that was acting as both the buyer and the seller's agent. She was amazing. So much better than the other agent. Advocated for me, made sure I felt comfortable with everything I signed. She was responsive with my questions. Like, she made this process so much smoother. Shout out to you, Arlene. Thank you so much.
Thanks, partner.
Home prices thankfully dropped a bit from their peaks of last year by the time of purchasing this house. So accounting for the price the seller gave me as well as a 3% credit, according to the peak estimates from Zillow, what I'm purchasing the house for is basically around 23% off of the peaks. So I felt like that was a decent deal, and the fact that this was a private sale, this property wasn't on the MLS, and I didn't have to deal with like crazy bidding wars. I did not want to deal with that whatsoever. I just wanted to buy the house. I did shop around different lenders for different rates and incentives, contacted about 4 different lenders, and for the most part, the rates that they were giving me were roughly the same. What was important to me was the responsiveness in replying to me, as well as some of the incentives. Like, a couple of them were telling me that they'll offer an option for a free refinancing in the future. And that's important to me because I'm for sure not keeping a high rate. When rates finally do cool off, I will refinance. That's 100%. So I got a 6.125% with a conventional loan. I could have got 5.625 with an FHA, but there's definitely a good amount of cons with FHA that I didn't know about before. So I just opted to go for the 6.125% with a 15% down. Sounds like a lot, but considering the rates have kind of increased from the time I rate locked, it's good I kind of pulled the trigger during that time. I've heard that now the average rates for conventional loans are like around 7%, which is ridiculous. I do plan to renovate the house a little bit eventually. Mainly I'm going to do some of the common area things and focus on the backyard and maybe the kitchen a little bit, but I won't go all out on it until like a little bit later on. I'd be basically focusing on renovations and different things that will have an ROI on my property's value. So, I'm not looking to go in like all out, spending all this money on things that will, make the house look luxurious. I prefer to spend things on things that will actually increase the value of a property when you get reappraised. That way, like, I'm spending money, but it's technically going back to the equity of the house. Like, the equity of the house is increasing because it's worth more when it's reappraised. That's my thoughts on it. I do plan to house hack and get some of those rooms rented out. I'm gonna keep one of the rooms because this is a personal residence, it's my primary residence, and I'm gonna have all the utilities and all that under my name. Now on paper, you know, I don't expect to cash flow just yet, especially with these high interest rates and all of that. Not until I eventually refinance at a better rate. However, I also learned that you could write off the property taxes as well as the interest rates every year, which in itself is huge. Like huge, like real.
Here's Johnny.
Like literally.
That's quite big.
According to like a calculated amortization schedule and taxes, I should be able to write off my income like $46K a year. That's like a ridiculous return on my taxes. So in a way, you can kind of say I'm, you know, cash flowing in this house in that regard while building equity at the same time. And that's why I'm okay with buying it as an investment vehicle for the future. And if I get interest rates to where I want them to be in the future, you know, it doesn't have to be like within the next 2 years, like, you know, within a few years, ideally if I can, like this property will now cash flow like 1K a month on top of the tax stuff that I just mentioned. But for now, you know, I got chill on the spending. A lot of money I dropped down in one go. So renovations, all that will just kind of be like a work in progress. I might think about making more videos on, you know, my real estate journey and renovations and whatnot. Let me know if you're interested in that type of content. This is my first home and hopefully not the last. Comment below or hit me up on IG if you have any questions. And don't forget to like and subscribe to support your boy. And as always, stay safe, stay humble. I'm out.